First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. Greg Nibbler here with Fox 12 Now, coming to you live from our digital desk with some breaking news that is happening. We have just learned that Governor Kotek has signed into law two bills that have received a lot of controversy from either side of the aisle. Those are House Bills 2002 and 2005. I wanted to bring you that information, fill you in on a little bit of the details as far as what those bills are, to refresh your memory on that. And then we're going to play something here in just a minute that goes into a little bit more detail on those. But in case you don't know, House Bill 2002 has to do with a couple of different things, one of them being gender-affirming care. It also guarantees access to reproductive health care for those who are 15 years and older. That allows them to access health care and reproductive care without parental permission in certain cases. And additionally, healthcare providers and public officials are protected from out-of-state investigations, prosecutions, or civil liability related to providing that health care. And this is, again, one that Governor Kotek just signed into law. To remind you as well, these two bills were the source of part of the reason for the walkout that the Republicans had earlier this year. These did pass, obviously, both the legislature and the Senate, but now being signed into law by Governor Kotek without a lot of fanfare. We just received notification of it ourselves, and we're still learning more, but it is official. They are signed in. So the other bill, being 2005, has to do with prohibitions on people under 21 possessing certain guns. That was stricken from that ruling. That was one of the source of controversies. So that part was not included in House Bill 2005. Instead, what this one is going to be doing is going after ghost guns. So those are untraceable guns. It ups the penalties for that, for someone who is found facilitating those. It defines undetectable firearm. It punishes manufacturing, importing, offering for sale, or transferring undetectable firearms by a maximum of 10 years imprisonment or $250,000 fine, or both. That is 2005. So again, these two bills signed into law by Governor Kotek, and that's where we're at right now. So what I wanted to do is play something. This is actually just from a couple of weeks ago when these bills actually passed through the Senate, previous to today with Kotek signing these. And we're going to play this with Connor. Connor has been out there covering this a lot. Connor McCarthy, one of our reporters here. And this will fill in a little bit more of the details. We'll play this, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about what the breaking news is. Really went on yesterday.
Yeah, so the biggest thing that happened yesterday was House Bill 2002 and 2005 finally passed the Oregon State Legislature. Those were the two bills that were very controversial. They were a point of contention for Republicans and Democrats. And these were the bills for the main reason why Republicans walked out back on May 3rd. With the passage, now the Senate walkout can come to a close, and these bills involve House Bill 2002 involves abortion rights as well as gender affirming care, and House Bill 2005 involved gun control and banning ghost guns. And the biggest takeaways, the biggest amendments from both of them, for House Bill 2002, Democrats agreed to amend the bill so parents can have a say in an abortion for a minor under 15, except in extreme circumstances. Initially, that wasn't in the bill. Republicans wanted to have some parental say. When it comes to House Bill 2005, the biggest amendment is they got rid of the portion of the bill that says they're going to raise the age to buy a gun from 18 to 21.
Yeah, those are both. We all know those are extremely, controversial and contentious on all kinds of sides. So, first thing, I can't believe it was May 3rd that they walked out. That's so long ago that this has been going on. So naturally, I guess that means there was a lot to catch up on. Let's talk about the first one, though, as far as the gender-affirming care and everything associated with that. What was the general consensus after this was passed?
Well, Republicans were still pushing back on the bill, especially on the House floor. There are some Republican representatives who said this bill was not necessary. Oregonians don't agree with this bill. It's not the top of mind. It's not an issue that is really concerning to them right now. They said that Oregonians right now care about fixing the homeless crisis, cracking down on crime, and fixing the housing crisis. But understandably, they knew the bill was going to pass, and their Republican colleagues in the Senate knew after coming back from the walkout, they knew, okay, well, our caucus does agree with this to some sort of extent, so Republicans can get back to work on the Senate side. But yeah, that's, basically the big pushback was from Republicans, still saying, this bill doesn't do much for women's rights. Oregon, this is their words. Oregon's already an abortion extreme state, and there's a lot of rights for people who want abortions, and this is just something that was unnecessary in their eyes.
So just kind of the same talking points, I guess, that we would expect that was coming from that. That they've been very vocal about that, I suppose, already.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So now that this has gone through there, do you know when this actually is codified into law, or how that works?
Yeah. So for both bills, just like any function of our government, the governor has to sign any bill before it becomes law. Just like how in Congress, the president has to sign any bill that comes out of Congress before it can become law. But it's unclear at this time when those laws, once it's signed, when that law will come into effect. But Governor Tina Kotek is expected to sign these bills.
So switching to the other one, to the raising the age limit for purchasing a gun, I guess same kind of question. How's the feeling been after that one passed? What's the feedback so far?
Well, Republicans see this as a win, definitely, because they've been a big advocate for not raising the age to buy a gun. In fact, there was at least one Democrat yesterday during discussion on the House floor who did oppose this amendment. He said that, there's a risk that 18, 19, 20-year-olds could access a gun and commit another mass shooting, and that's what he's afraid of without this amendment being in place. But this is definitely seen as a win for Republicans. Granted, also Republicans just talked overall about this bill, pushing back, saying, this bill to ban ghost guns isn't going to stop criminals. Criminals are going to find a way to find a gun. Basically, the similar talking points that Republicans have from national all the way down the local level. But it's also important to point out that Measure 114 is still being debated and litigated in federal court right now. And in Measure 114, there is a line of provision in that law that was passed by voters that would raise the age to buy a gun from 18 to 21. So it's still possible. It depends what the federal court has to say. But so it's still a discussion point right now.
Yeah, so there's still maybe an end around then, or not even end around, but if that one gets enforced, then it's going to go anyway. What is, with all of this activity yesterday, all of this passing of all these different bills and where they're going, what's happening today and going forward?
Well, today they got to get as much work done as possible. The deadline for the legislative session is June 25th, which is, I believe, this Sunday. And by law, under the Oregon Constitution, the state legislature has to pass a budget for the next 2 years. And that is the top priority right now. That needs to get passed in order to fund government agencies, welfare programs. It's codified into the Constitution, so that needs to get done. And everything else just kind of trickles in, and they just have to pass as much as they can. I know they lost about 6 weeks of floor time because of the walkout, but they're just going to work as hard as much as they can.
And so probably working through the weekend then, I would imagine, to get that done.
Yes, and maybe even to the night, but then again, the legislators get to decide their own hours, so when they want to stop working.
That's true. Well, for you, I mean, I know that you're working. You've got a lot going on today. Anything to expect as far as coverage coming up today? Okay, I'm going to switch it.
So right now I'm actually...
All right, switching back from that, again, that was a previous interview with Connor covering those two bills. So if you're just joining us, in breaking news, Governor Kotek signing into law those two controversial bills that he just walked through. Again, House Bill 2002, 2005, both of them meeting some, I keep using the word controversy, but both sides have had some issues with those bills, but they are signed in. So what happens next? That's it. These are now into law. So I appreciate everybody joining in here with us. That's the news that we received, so we wanted to come here and bring that to you live, breaking as we got it. As we get more information, we'll be covering this later on in the day in all of our newscasts and getting you more information as we find out about it. But that is the news for now. Governor Kotek signing those bills into law. We do have more coming up here on Fox 12 now, actually at 1:30 p.m. If you are watching live, I'm going to be joined by Eric G. from Around the House Northwest. And then at 2 p.m., I'm going to be joined by the Executive Director of Pride Northwest. So a lot of coverage coming up on here. I appreciate you joining us. Again, we are here every day, 1 p.m. Pacific, bringing you breaking news like this as it happens, or interviews or coverage of news stories that we can go more in depth with. So a lot of things to follow along with as part of this show. I appreciate you being a part of it. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.